Hey everyone, and welcome to part 1 in this Visio for Beginners series. Visio can be a little bit quirky when compared to other Office applications. So in this lesson, we'll look at the basic anatomy of the Visio interface, some critical keyboard shortcuts that are specific to Visio, how to place shapes on your drawing using the dynamic grid, and some techniques for selecting shapes. By the end, you'll have a firm grasp of some of the essential skills you'll need to get started with Visio. So we'll start with the application window itself. This entire space is known as a workspace, and I'll talk about that as I wrap things up in this lesson. And then going generally clockwise around the workspace, starting on the left-hand side, we have the Shapes pane. The Shapes pane is where you have the collection of stencils and shapes, and technically these are masters. And I have an accompanying quick reference guide which will help you understand the difference between the shapes, the stencils, the masters, and so on. Just that basic vocabulary that you need in order to really leverage your knowledge about Visio. Now, just the Shapes panel itself can become rather confusing to use because this is something that not only can be minimized, as you can see here with this little chevron, but with this four-headed arrow, it can be dragged around your desktop, and it can be minimized, it can be maximized like this, it can be resized when it's in this configuration. And then to dock it back to the side of the program, you just drag until it's at the edge of the program. The other thing to keep in mind as you're using the Shapes pane is that the fail-safe is the View tab of the ribbon. So under here, you've got this task panes. If you ever don't see the Shapes pane, it might either be a case of that, where it's not enabled, or you have been dragging some shapes around and accidentally you have done that and then you've gotten that out of the way, and it may just be something that you don't know where it is on your desktop. So if you see it, put it over there. And then I always like to do this as well. Here's another potential source of confusion when you're using the Shapes panel. You can resize it, but the temptation is to go here and click and drag, but that is dragging a guide, and we don't want to drag a guide if we're trying to resize the Shapes pane. So I'm going to undo that with Control Z, and instead I'm going to wait till this mouse pointer becomes a double-headed arrow like this, and then I can drag and resize my Shapes panel. And as you can see, I'm using the word pane and panel interchangeably here. Really, we're referring to the same thing. Underneath that, you have a status bar. This is common to all Office applications, so people who are using Visio should understand that this can be right-clicked, and then you can customize the things that are in the status bar by just a click on and off again. Right above that, you have a section called Page Controls, and here's where you can add pages, switch between pages in your drawing, and if your drawing is big enough, you can click here to navigate to all the pages in your drawing. To the right-hand side of that are your zoom controls here, so you can zoom in and zoom out of your drawing. You can also go to a presentation mode, which will just take you to a full screen mode, which looks like this. If you want to get out of that, just hit Escape on your keyboard. Now, in terms of the building of your diagram, this section up here, not only with the blank page, but the measurement guidelines you have here, these rulers, that is known as the drawing window. And I'll refer to the drawing window, of course, many times. So that's a quick guided tour of what you'll encounter in the workspace. And speaking of the workspace, it is something that is saved as part of working with Visio. So no matter what page or what zoom level I use with these windows, notice here that this zoom level is 80% right now, and on page 2 the zoom level is 53%. If I close Visio and save my progress, the workspace is also saved. So if I click on this same file and give it a double click to open it again, notice that Visio will take me right where I left off. The same zoom settings on page 1 and page 2, and the same page I was last working with. So once again, that is all considered part of the Visio workspace. Now, in terms of more detail about what is in this Shapes pane itself, again, I have a quick reference guide that is a part of this lesson that explains the differences between shapes, stencils, masters, and so on. Now, the first thing I have to pass along is not specific to Visio. This will help you in any Office application, and that is the Alt key. If you hit the Alt key on your keyboard, it'll bring up all of the keyboard shortcuts you could use to navigate to different tabs on the ribbon. It'll also help you navigate to the Backstage view. So if you do Alt and F, it'll take you to the Backstage view, and then maybe from there you can hit T and get to the Options dialog box, and maybe from there you want to change the Office background or the Office theme, something simple like that. I'll click on Cancel to take us back to the Visio window. The rest of these keyboard shortcuts are specific to Visio, and they will save you a bundle of time when you are navigating around this thing right here, which as we know now is the drawing window. Now the first one I have to pass along is Control and the scroll wheel to zoom us in and out. We are going to be zooming in and out all the time because we're going to quickly start building diagrams that look more like this than they do like this. So just remember, if you've got a mouse with a scroll wheel, you can hold down the Control key and then scroll in and out of your diagrams by using the combination of Control and scroll in and scroll out, or scroll up and scroll down. If you don't hold Control, it'll scroll up and down within your Visio page, but if you hold down that magic Control key, it'll scroll in and out. And notice where I put the mouse is the zoom point, in and out, in and out. That is Control and the scroll wheel. Now I'm going to click on over to page 2 to give us a look at a more typical type of a Visio diagram that we'll be building in short order. And I'll show you another trick you can use if you don't happen to have a mouse with a scroll wheel, or even if you do, this can sometimes come in handy. And that is to hold down the Control and Shift key and then to draw a box. You can see that the mouse pointer changes to a magnifying glass. So if I do that, it'll automatically scroll me into that thing that I just drew the box around. If that is your technique to scroll in to a selected area in your Visio diagram, to go back to zoom to fit, you can use this area down here and you can click on this button, or you can use the other keyboard shortcut that is vital for using Visio diagrams, and that is Control, Shift, and W. Control, Shift, and W is zoom to fit. So no matter what your screen resolution is right now, no matter how big the Visio window, zoom to fit does just that. Now the very last thing I have to pass along is this. Another technique you can use without the scroll wheel is that you can hold down Control Shift and you can left click to zoom in and you can right click to zoom out. That's another trick you can use to save you lots of time versus the alternative of using this thing to scroll in and then using your pan and scroll bars. So to start things out, I'll show you two things. One is that I'll go to the Backstage view by clicking on the File tab of the ribbon. And what I'm using here, if I click on New, is I'm using a basic diagram template. So I'll click here to get me back. And the reason I'm using this is just because it gives me a stencil of basic shapes from which to work with. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the bottom of the drawing window and I'm going to click on Insert Page. So I'll have a blank sheet of paper on my canvas to work with. Now, I'm going to grab a rectangle from my stencil of masters and I'm going to drag this onto the page. So when I do, you will see one feature of the dynamic grid, which is when I am using a blank sheet of paper here, the first shape, I'm going to see the dynamic grid, this green line, try to help me orient the shape vertically and horizontally. So if I want to go dead center of the page, the dynamic grid will help me align just like that. In fact, the shape will snap to the center line both horizontally and vertically. So I'll let go of the mouse and my shape is placed. Now once that shape is placed and I move it around the canvas here, you'll notice that the dynamic grid kind of goes away. It doesn't help me align to the center anymore. Where the dynamic grid comes into play is when I add my second shape. If I drag another rectangle, you'll see that I can get these green lines that help me line things up at the edges. They help me line things up so that The shapes are perfectly in line with one another. And then you also see that double-headed arrow between shapes that helps me with the precision of where the spacing options are for these shapes. So I'm going to just drag my mouse slowly away from the double-headed arrow just a little bit. In other words, I'm just making a little more space between my first rectangle and second rectangle because I want to keep that alignment intact as I add my third rectangle, which I'll do right now. So as I click and drag this onto the canvas, there are the dynamic grid lines that help me both center it and line it vertically. And as I slowly drag my mouse to the right, I see the double-headed arrow again. And now when I let go, I know that these three shapes are exactly the same distance apart. Why? Because of the dynamic grid. Here's where else the dynamic grid will come into play. Let's say I want to drag a circle onto the canvas. Now, I'm going to drag it, and the dynamic grid helps me align the circle perfectly with that rectangle or that rectangle, and also helps me keep that circle exactly the same distance apart as that circle. Now, another thing it does is that it will help me make shapes that are exactly, not only the exact amount of space apart from other shapes, but it helps me line up shapes to an edge, or it can help me align shapes to that edge. So what you're seeing here is the behavior of the dynamic grid comes into play with other shapes more than relative to the piece of paper that the shapes live on. So now if I resize the shape, again, the dynamic grid helps me resize the circle so that its width is exactly the same as the rectangle that it's next to. Finally, let's show you two things about the behavior of this dynamic grid. One is go to the View tab of your ribbon. And from the View tab of the ribbon, that checkbox tells you whether or not the dynamic grid is on or off. So if you want to precisely align a shape or get a shape to do something that the dynamic grid, because of its snapping behavior, is overriding your intentions, then maybe you just need to turn the dynamic grid off, and then you can be very precise with how you are positioning an element within your Visio drawing. The other thing to take note of is that when I click and drag an item onto my canvas, that first double-headed arrow I get, and of course I need to turn my dynamic grid on, but this first double-headed arrow that you see right there, the default spacing of that double-headed arrow is dictated by something that lives on the Home tab. So I'm going to click on the Home tab now and go over to my Position group of commands in the Arrange grouping. So I'm going to click on the Position button here, and then I'm going to click on Spacing Options. That brings up this dialog box, and that first double-headed spacing arrow is 0.375 inches away from the other shape that it is trying to live next to. Typically, just leave the defaults alone because, again, it will help me align this exactly 0.375 inches away from the rectangle. But if I add other shapes, the dynamic grid still tells me that even though this isn't 0.375, that this square is, and this square are exactly the same amount apart from that rectangle. In this lesson, we'll look at how to select objects in your Visio diagram. Like most other aspects of this application or other Office applications, there's usually more than meets the eye. So yes, that's certainly how you can select something, just by giving the object a click, but you're going to be selecting things multiple times, hundreds if not thousands of times. So I want to give you a couple of pointers when you're selecting. You may have used other programs and done a area select, which is clicking and dragging kind of a big rectangular area. But you have to be pretty precise. If I just drag like that, nothing is selected. Even though I might think that I'm selecting all three items, I am in fact not. I have to make sure that I get all of the objects within my rectangle in order to have them selected. And once they're selected, you see that bounding box around your selection. You also see this blue highlighting that appears, which gives you an indicator that whatever is blue highlight is selected. So if I want to do something as simple as just taking these three items and moving them like so, then I have to make sure that I am able to select all three. Or if I want to duplicate them and move this new set of items down here, then again I want to make sure that I can select them first. Or if I want to take these three items and twirl them around so that they're kind of the opposite of their counterparts, again, I just have to make sure and make the selection. Now, what if you want to make selections that don't really neatly fit within a area box? What if you want to select that and that, for example? Well, here's what you can do. You can make a click, then hold down the control key and click that. Now you have two items selected, and if I click and drag, notice what happens when I do that selection and then make the movement. I'm going to undo that. So even though the bounding box looks like it has selected multiple items here, it has included this and this object, in fact the only things selected are this and this. And again, the blue highlighting is very significant. So if I select this and this by holding down the control key, I get a big banding box, but I click and drag and I only move the triangles. Now, another thing you can do, another technique you can use to kind of produce the same effect there, is that you can use the Home tab editing tools, and by clicking on this select button here, you can also lasso select. Make sure I change to the lasso tool. So let's say I want to select that and then those two items. As long as they're within the lasso, then they all should be selected. So again, more than meets the eye when it comes to the art of simply selecting objects in your diagram. So there you have it. Let me know any feedback or requests you have using the comments below, and consider subscribing for all the latest tips and tricks on Microsoft Office applications. Thanks for watching.